If you want to get the top odds every time, bet with Top Sport's Same Game Multi. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Gamble responsibly.
Huge show this week, round 21 coming up. We've got plenty to talk about out of last week's round. Lots of controversy, a few send-offs and plenty of suspension. We've got a full crew right from the start, which is fantastic. As I introduce the boys, Mr. Matthew Mark Cherry, how are you, mate?
Afternoon, lads. How are we all?
Good, really good. Not too bad today. Yourself, J. Rod Burton?
Good, boys. Can't complain.
Plenty to talk about, as I said, boys. Unfortunately, I won't be joined by Tristan Merlihan from Top Sport at the moment. We're running a little bit late on our end, and he had a little schedule conflict. But anyway, we'll press on, boys, and we'll kick the show off how we normally do, and we'll hit our Top Sport top that moment of the round. For any of our new listeners and viewers, which we do have plenty of, this is each week we'll pick a moment or a piece out of last week's round that sort of got us going and got the juices flowing, so to speak. Anyone want to kick us off?
Probably maybe Cleary getting 5 weeks instead of no weeks. No. Mine was the West Tigers, especially Adam Dewey, putting on a bit of a show there on the weekend. Really made the game very enjoyable, and just shows what they can do. Showing about poor old Jackson Hastings there with the
bad hip drop.
With that leg injury, that put him out for the rest of the year, and he'll be very sore at the start of next year too. So, mine was the West Tigers. That surprised me a lot, and just shows what they can do when they are firing.
They could be heading for three on the trot if it wasn't for that decision up there at North Queensland.
Yeah, North Queensland.
Anything from you, mate?
I'm going to go Jeremy Marshall-King's turning around of his season. A couple of months ago, he said that he wanted to be in the top 3 dummy halves in the game, and I tell you what, he's well and truly on his way. Over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've seen that bloke play some tremendous football, and I take my hat off to him. He said he wants to be one of the top 3, and he's worked so hard to get there. And I thought over the last 2 weeks, particularly, he's been really well, really good.
Yeah, I think he sort of sparked a lot of their attack too. They're playing a lot better now than what they were at the start of the year, and a lot of that's coming off him too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's playing really good.
He's been cruising with the Supercoach points too. He has.
Has he really?
I think so. Yeah, he's been getting with the meters and stuff.
Yeah,
I think he's been very valuable for the people that have had him on their side.
Boys, mine came out of the Warriors Storm game over there in New Zealand. It wasn't the fact that I got my multi up 2 minutes after half time. I'll get to that a bit later on. But it was old young Edward Cosey, I think his name is, out there on the wing, getting a hat-trick, scored all the points for the Warriors. They couldn't get a kick across through the goals, scoring out there on the wing 3 times. But it was a good little show for him, and that would have boosted up his Supercoach points as well, Ches, if you like him for that. So... yeah, only a young fella and getting a start against, one of the better quality sides. And I did pick last week that they turned their form around, the Storm, and they did do that. So for him to get 3 tries out there still shows that there's still a few little defensive issues there for the Storm, I think.
No, very good. The other one that got the hat-trick there was young Jacob Carraz there for the Dogs. I was talking about him a few weeks ago. Not sure how long ago by memory. We'll just say 3, just for a guess. He's got that real wiry sort of physique about him, but Jesus, he's such a strong, can break the line easy, and he just seems to get through a lot.
He's scoring a lot of tries lately, and they still can't update his photo.
Yeah,
on the NRL app. If you have a look at it, he's still unlocked. He still hasn't.
Maybe he's still that creative character. They haven't paid for the rights yet.
Could have done.
Well, apparently Newcastle let him go. He was in the night system, and they let him go. So for him to get 3 tries against the club that let him go, that must have felt good for him,
mate. I tell you what, Newcastle, whoever's in charge of their recruitment needs shooting.
Yeah, well, a lot of shake-up happening there at the moment as well, which we'll get to, and that'll lead us into our.
You are off. Don't talk to me. Just go.
Our send-off, gentlemen. Anything
off.
that didn't get your juices flowing, that sort of stopped the rise, so to speak.
Couple of things. Match review committee, how inconsistent they are. A couple of elbows, etc. For example, Nelson Asafa-Solomona's elbow was basically unpunished. Waria Hargraves was completely unpunished. But then you get that turnaround where you get idiots like Gus. He's another one of the send-offs. Gus, who says that we can't afford to have good players like Nathan Cleary out of the competition for too long. 5 weeks is too long. So what are you going to say? Because they're a good player, he's going to get 3 weeks, and because it's a bad player or an average player, fringy, you're going to get 6. Mate, get your hand off it. Yeah. The other thing is too that the massive blow up about this is my main send off is the massive blow up. We had a chat before we come on air about players not playing for Australia but playing for state of origin, but yet people blow up and say, well, they shouldn't be available for Australia. But just remember that in my eyes, if you had New Zealand, so here we go. So ANZ holds what, 82,000, and it's almost packed. There's very little seats left, if any at all. Suncorp Stadium's 40, 45, and it's packed. If it was 90, it'd hold 90. MCG, last time they had that, 90. They played in Western Australia game 2. It was packed. Couldn't 60, even 60,000. It was packed. You can't tell me that you're going to have an Australia versus New Zealand game and you're going to pack ANZ Stadium.
Exactly right.
So, but they're making such a big deal about them not playing for Australia when it's not even the pinnacle. It's like rugby union. This is what I say. How can you expect the Wallabies to sell seats when your Super Rugby can't even, your normal group games can't even fill seats. So the way I see it, the bigger and the better Origin is, the better it's going to be. Realistically, if you want to work towards that sort of stuff, there has to be a different sort of plan. You can't just tar someone and say, righto, Papali'i, for example, today, as we're on air on a Wednesday, this will come out on a Thursday. You look at Jerome Luai and Brian To'o, they're playing, and you can't say, righto, so we're not going to select them for Origin. That's it. You can't punish people on that.
No. Exactly right. I'm 100% with you.
When your international game is as big as Origin, then you can do it.
Yeah. It's stats don't lie, and they're selling more tickets for those Origin games, even though they can't hold as many people.
There's only 3 of them a year.
Yeah, they're exactly right. And the viewers are more for Origin than they are for the international games as well. And the players themselves, they feel that the peak that they can reach is state of Origin now, not those international rep games.
The other thing too, when you bounce off that, you look at what Origin goes to how many different countries around the world, and it's actually watched. I know the Americans are starting to love it, for example, and there's big TV audiences. You can't tell me that we're going to have Australia versus England and the Yanks are going to tune in numbers to watch that.
I read something last night. There was a suggestion that they scrap Australia out of the World Cup and have an Indigenous side. All the Australian players go and play for their country. So you'd have, we'll say, for instance, Jackson Hastings and Victor Radley, they'd be playing for England.
Yep.
To'o be playing for Samoa. That sort of a system, so they can still come back and play Origin during next year. But then for that World Cup for that year, there's no actually Australian Kangaroos side.
Yeah, I don't like that.
For the World Cup, they will be there for the nations, but not for the World Cup. And then they reckon that'll level out the playing field and make it a bit more interesting to watch. But that was something I read.
The bookies would love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very controversial topic, and lots of differing opinions on it as well. I'm a bit the same as you lads, that we sell Origin as the pinnacle of our game, yet some of the best players in the game can't ever play that. You know, I go back to, I had this thought process when it was Sonny Bill was around. You know, the best player in the game couldn't play in the biggest games. So I think that's a little unfair of these people, especially the ones that sort of are born here, grown up here, but obviously, you know, have parents or grandparents from other countries and they want to represent them. As far as family goes, I think it's really unfair that we say, well, if you play here, you've got to play for Australia. I think it's great that we should be able to, grow this international game and have the players like To'o, Luai, Papali'i, who else it might be, go off and play. We're Australia. We've still got so many more other players to pick from.
Absolutely.
And we're still going to be competitive, even if we lose, say, 6 or 8 people that played State of Origin. We're still going to be competitive against these guys in the international game. And it's only going to lift them, their countries up. So I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, these guys are all going off there. Australia's probably still going to win the World Cup. Obviously New Zealand's got a really good side at the moment, but really Australia's still got the biggest depth out of everyone.
Absolutely.
So if we lose 5, 6, 7, 8 players here and there, I don't think it's too big of a deal.
No, it's not going to matter them at all. I think if the Origin time, then they should bring in that New Zealand versus the Islands.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep.
Something else to watch.
Anything from you, mate? Otherwise, these other things. Yep.
We've gone off track there.
It's a big segment.
Digressed, so to speak. Mine was the Solomona elbow not getting picked up. And then the whinging about Cleary getting with the Gus Gould Fittler was one of them. Johns, we can't have him off, Slatter's another one. I tell you what, my old mate Aaron Woods, or Sharon Woods like to call him, he's actually stepped up a level. He was on the podcast there after Gordon Tallis there the other day, and he said if that was Jared Warrior-Hargroves making that tackle, he would have been getting life.
Yep.
Just goes to show where they hold players.
Match review committee again.
So would you prefer to have Cleary not get suspended and almost break someone's neck and ruin their life, just so you can sell some more tickets and have some more TV views?
So does it come to the point where we have another Alex McKinnon incident to the point where someone goes, right, we need to stamp this out? Or are you just going to go, oh, because it was Nathan Cleary, that bloke's in a wheelchair, but hey, we'll give him 3 weeks?
Yeah. I actually put a poll up on a few of our socials yesterday, boys, and put a picture of Carrigan's tackle and Cleary's tackle and asked which was worse. I was generally interested to hear the thoughts of our listeners, and it came back about 60-40, Cleary's tackle being the worst. And I just want to say, before I sort of get into it, that I think both were pretty bad and probably deserved it, if so, of the penalty that they did get. I do think that Cleary's probably wasn't as bad as Carl Lawton's on Cam Murray.
Oh, yeah.
It was 5, 6, 8 weeks ago, whenever that was. I think that was worse. I think he only got 4 for that. If you watch that, it was one-on-one. He actually came off the ground with him and drove him in and landed a lot more on his neck than what Dylan Brown did. But then we sort of go, should we be taking in the injury to the player? And in this case, Carrigan's tackle was worse because there was an injury to the player. Obviously the potential for an injury in Cleary's is worse, but I was kind of thinking about how you could explain it. If 2 people go to the court and one's got a Ferrari and he was caught doing 200 kilometres an hour down the main straight, but nothing actually happened, is he going to get in more trouble than the person driving the Datsun 180 that actually ran over someone doing 40 kilometres an hour?
And you can't and then again, it comes down to that thing where you go, right, well, he drives a Ferrari, so we're going to give him 3 weeks, but you drive a Datsun, so we're going to give you 10.
Yeah.
And take the injury into the account, sort of thing. So it's a jar of worms, but the problem is, I think they scrapped. They originally tried to scrap the carryover points, etc., because there was so much weighing in on it. But then again, too, the way I see carryover points, it works. It's a system. It works. I don't know why they changed it, but
I think they should have carryover points for similar offences.
Yeah, 100%. Have them in a category. So if it's a lifting, if it's a high tackle, etc., like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or crushes or something like that. If it's repetitive, you need to be punished more for that to go on, because you're obviously not learning your lesson. If Cleary
$1,000 fines.
If Cleary goes there and gets 5 weeks for this, but then he comes back first week of the finals and does a head high, then that shouldn't carry over into that head high. That should be treated on its own merits. That's how I think it should be. And to be honest, boys, I don't know how you feel, but we spoke last week that if someone else goes down, Penrith going to be able to cover that. And we got blasted on YouTube for putting the mocker on Cleary, which is not what we wanted to do, but we do have a tendency to do. But I actually think it's going to probably benefit the Panthers too a little bit. He's going to come back fresh. He's still able to train, whereas Jerome Luai isn't. He's got a leg injury, so he can't train. But Cleary's still going to be training. He's going to come back fit and healthy, not get rid of any bumps and bruises. It's been a long season for him with Origin, that kind of stuff, and with a fire in his belly. I actually think it's going to be...
He'll be hungry.
Going to be really beneficial to the Panthers for him to have this bit of a forced rest, to be honest.
Yeah, I disagree with those with the carryover points just a little bit. I just feel like it can give people an opportunity to be a grub player, so they can come in, give someone a clothesline from hell, have 4 or 5 weeks off, and then come back and then do a spear tackle, and then that doesn't come into effect of it. I think certain things need to be in an actual category, not an actual tackle style, but an actual category of how bad it is. Yeah, and maybe that might sort of flush them down a bit and bring back in a little bit of discipline.
But the thing with that, and I can see your point of view, but the thing with that is, from a club perspective, if you've got a player that's like that, you're not going to... he's off the field majority of the time, then he's not going to last long at those clubs either.
Exactly right.
I mean? So if he comes back and does 5 weeks here, 5 weeks there, then...
No one else is going to buy him, so then he's gone, and then it just weeds out all the grubs.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, boys? Otherwise, we'll move on.
There was cranky now. I had something in the back of my head, and now I can't remember what it was.
On a positive note, we got some good feedback too. We said we'd give him a shout out too. Was it Shane Doyle, I believe?
Yeah.
On our socials. So, mate, hey, if you want a shout out, just give us a rap or a negative rap, one of the two.
And also got one for Brad Giorgio. He actually got on board my Melbourne multi over there.
Did
Got
he?
the 3 try score. He's actually added the head-to-head for the Melbourne as well, so he upped it to 4 legs. So shout out to Giorgio as well.
Send us a message. I'll give you my bank details and you can give
I was
us
going to say, still waiting on the 10% to come, finder's fee to come across, but we'll sort that out, mate. Don't you worry.
See if we can jag a couple this week, eh?
Yeah.
I did remember, it's the milking of penalties. Now, that Kurt Capewell tackle, where he got slightly grazed across the chin, lied down to the whistle, got a penalty, popped straight back up. Mate, the Sharks player that got co-negged, he got straight back up pretty much.
Mulatalo, was it? Yeah. Burgess wasn't happy about that too, don't
Tom
worry.
Burgess blown up about it and stuff. That was a lot worse than what Capewell got hit. And look at the size of Capewell compared to Mulatalo. Like, they got to stop milking for these penalties.
I seen one. There was, for example, it was the Raiders game. I think it might have been 2 weeks ago. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly who it was, but I do remember someone was basically brushed on the chin, stayed down. They dropped the ball over the line. Now they stayed down, and it was reviewed, and it was one of the best explanations. Said it was absolutely bare minimum contact, and Xavier Savage's arm, when he was attempting to make the tackle over the goal line, was angled in a downward motion. So he had adjusted his body to the falling player's body. So he tried, and basically the video referee just brushed it on the head. So which was a really good explanation of it, to say that Xavier Savage did the right thing by trying to lower himself into a safe position, and that was it. So I thought that was good. So we just need a little bit more of it.
Very good. All right, let's jump straight into beer of the week. Thanks to the Whitebull Hotel. Now, a bit controversial, this one, with man to my left just cracking it now. What have you got, boys? And there's a reason behind what we've got. And you let the audience know.
This is funny. 4X Gold is what it is. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 4X Gold is the beer of Queensland. Guess who makes it? 2 is New.
Yeah.
2 is New is the beer of New South Wales. So there you go, Queenslanders, get that up, yeah.
Infiltrating we are.
Hey, that's it. So, as well, you get all those people say, "Oh, it's no good. It's full of sodium and whatever else." But
I didn't realise it was a Nathan Lyon product.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, I think they own everything, don't they?
I think
basically.
I know that they transport it.
As in Gary, the spinner, Nathan Lyon, or
yeah, that's him. He's a brewer now.
brewing Gary.
Full flavoured lager. I tell you what, a lot of people write this off. Just having the one. I'll go to the gym later on, so I'll be a good girl. I don't drink during the week. Just having the one, it's actually not too bad. But I tell you what, I have had some sessions on this where you're having like 8 or 10 of them, 18 or 20 of them, and you wake up in the morning like you've been shot. Jesus.
You know why? They're full of sodium.
Yeah, so they say. One standard drink. I don't want to tell you what. It's not a bad day today. The sun was out. I'm going to give it a 4. It's crisp.
Well,
Mr. Cherry,
if I'm going to have 18 or 20 of them, I'm probably going to give it a 2.
Once again, I'm going to disagree for today's show. 4X Gold, I think they should change the name to 4X Rust. I reckon this is one of the worst beers that have been made ever.
Yeah, right.
Ever. I prefer to have a KB lager than have one of these.
Here we go. Reg.
I don't know. They've just never gelled with me. And same as you, I've had a big session. I had to go to a wedding once.
Oh, mate.
And went in this little function room thing, and it was beer, wine, and soft drink for the tab. And I'm not a big spirit drinker, so I said, "Oh, mate, I'll just get a 2 is New." So I know we don't have any news. We got 4S Gold for the wedding. I said, no, I don't want one of them. I want one of those 2 is News. He said, "Oh, that's not on the tab." I said, "I don't care." I said, "I'm not drinking that free shit." I said, "I don't mind paying for them." That's how much I don't like them.
Yeah, right.
Jesus,
so you didn't want to get on the rosé or anything.
But
like
I have had a big session on these. Wake up the next day, fingers are all red and swollen and puffy.
Yeah, right.
Blood pressure's through the roof, heaving like a mongrel dog because of all the sodium that's in them.
I was going to be sure your fingers are swollen from the beer.
Well, there is a reason that Hawkeye fixes up with this, and that's because we still need to make good in our Origin bet with Tristan, boys, and that's to...
Won't be drinking out of them.
I was going to say, what about one of them?
That's to,
I'm not drinking
that's
out
to
of
do
your
a
work,
shoey. So we thought it was only fair that we drink a Queensland beer as well. So I'm sure Tristo will love that. Hopefully we'll get that done this weekend. We'll get together sometime and
see what we can do.
Do a shoey or 3. The old fella, Aaron Woods over in New Zealand. That
He's
looked
at it again.
He out of the Crocs. Did you say he's in the Crocs on the weekend?
loves it, doesn't he?
Loves it. Old Stacey Jones and like sitting there.
Oh, shit.
Spewing.
I'll skull this one anyway. We'll do the shoey later on.
What was your stubby lid rating?
1.
And I'll be generous because it comes from the White Bull. I'm going to give it a 3.
That's not too bad. Great sponsor.
Oh, hang on a sec.
3.5.
We'll go up to 3.5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5.
Only because it come from the White Bull. Come from anywhere else, it would have been a 1.
We'll take a break. Stick around. We'll talk some footy the other side.
Having a bet on sport this week? Top this.
Whether you're into cricket and curling or golf and greyhounds, Top Sport will let you on for plenty. And with literally hundreds of markets from your own backyard to the international stage, Top Sport has you well covered. So if you want to get the top odds every time, bet with Top Sport.
Top that. Download the app today. Top Sport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, we've got some big games this weekend that might have a bearing on the top 4 and top 8. So we're going to touch on a few a bit more in depth and skip over a few of the ones that don't really mean too much. But first up, boys, Thursday night, 7:50 p.m. at the SCG. We've got the Roosters taking up on the Broncos. Head-to-head here, the Roosters are the favourite, $1.61. Broncos are $2.35. The line's set at 4.5, so I think it's going to be fairly close here. $1.85 at the minus for the Roosters or $1.95 at the plus for the Broncos. Thoughts on the game, boys? Broncos are pretty poor last week against the Tigers. Roosters only just got the job done against Manly when they had 7 players out. So they didn't look fantastic either. I think they just did what they had to do, to be honest.
I think that game was going to go either way if Roosters won or lost. It would have been, Manly's got 7 players out. That's why they lost.
If they won.
Oh, excuse me. I sculled that thing. I shouldn't have. And then if they had got close like they did, fantastic, great thing for Manly. I don't think they were ever going to win.
No.
But that was always going to be that thing. And Roosters, they didn't play the best, did they?
No, terrible news for
weren't
Lindsay
their top-
Collins too.
Mate,
Just back from a head knock.
worrying.
Got
I,
and bad KO.
that was early too in the game.
Yeah.
I think what I said last week, I said if Kiri gets another one, we could be in trouble.
Collins
poor old Linz, I think, not looking real good.
Actually,
I think Broncos are going to come back fire in this one. They sort of need to put I don't know, they need to get some form behind them, don't they, coming in for the next few weeks to really sort of plaster their stand on the, they could be in the top 4, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you someone I'm starting to warm up to is Ezra Mam.
Ah, yes.
For a bloke who, 5 weeks ago, he was only just starting. 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, he's only just starting. I'll tell you what, he's starting to catch my eye.
Yeah, he very much reminds me of Milford, when Milford first started back with Canberra and then moved to Broncos. That sort of first year he's at the Broncos, the first half a dozen games, he's really good and just so quick and footwork, and
He has good
he's
vision.
strong.
And he's very creative too. He can just get something and make something out of
Just compliments Adam Reynolds too.
it. Yeah.
No Pat Carrigan for the Broncos, boys. And I like what the Roosters did last week. They actually gave the number 7 jersey to Sam Walker, which they've held off doing all year. They've sort of kind of stuck with Keary being the number 7. It just hasn't worked. So I think that worked a lot better for them last week. They're pretty much full strength, except for obviously Lindsay Collins and Egan Butcher's also out as well for them. Your multi, I think, Mr. Cherry, and you've gone a bit of value.
I have. I've been very conservative this year, and I thought, that's it. Enough is enough.
Hasn't worked for you, so you
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. So go back to my old ways here. Not too erratic, though. Just a couple of good ones to start off. Get back to my old form. I've gone Daniel Tupou, Connor Watson, and Ezra Mam, anytime try scorers. $51.05.
Wow, there's my
How good's that?
Mamby boy in there.
big 3-legger there.
Loving it.
That's crazy.
Huge. Great odds. So if you do like that, get on early, because I'm sure that price will probably come in a little bit with the amount of people that are going to get on it. Head over to Top Sport, create yourself an account, use the code SGM Podcast. As always, great sponsors of the show. Moving along to the second game, boys, Friday night, 6 p.m. Amy Park down there in Melbourne. We've got the Storm up against the Titans. Storm are clear favourites here, $1.11, and with the Titans being $6.75 outsiders. The line set at 16.5. $1.85 at the minus for the Storm or $1.95 at the plus for the Titans.
Where have they put Munster? Talk of him playing fullback.
Well, he's named at 6, so they won't change that till kick off if they do.
Yeah, they got Wishart at number 1, which he filled in there before. Just touching on that. Thank you. I forgot about that before. I know it doesn't have the same effect because it's not so much someone driving, but I honestly thought that DWZ's taking his legs out of Nick Meaney was worse than Nathan Cleary's tackle.
In a sense, yeah.
He landed. He's got even less control than what Nathan Cleary did. Obviously, he doesn't drive him, but he took it, and Nick Meaney landed worse, ended up with a worse injury than what Dylan Brown did. They've got to stamp that out. That's what they've got to do. And he just came in, and he wasn't even really attacking the ball. He just came in. I don't think he meant to take him out, but he came in so fast, realised that he couldn't get there, and had nothing else to do. But that was really bad. And I think he got on report. I don't think he got suspended. But what happened if he broke his neck?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
going to get 5 weeks like Cleary. You know what I mean? So
the only problem with that is, hopefully it doesn't come to it. But surely, if how do you say it? How are they going to
stop it?
How are they going to rule on it? But are you going to get players who aren't? Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to even.
Know what they'll do? They'll end up having a fair catch, like in the NFL.
Surely
they got a wave and no one can touch them. It's a fair catch, and then that's where they got to play from. Don't be surprised 10 years time if it looks like that.
I'll be watching AFL by then.
So that cut out tackle footy in kids footy now too. So
yeah, it'd be like when you tell the teacher at school, say, no, we're playing 1, 2, 3. As soon as she turns her back, the boys.
Nofaluma, boys, makes his debut for the Storm, coming down from the Tigers. Brendan Smith returns to the bench as well after that 3-week suspension he received for giving the ref a gobful. And for the Titans, Jaden Campbell starting at fullback. He was good last week. Brimson moving to 5'8". And they got Tanner Boyd as halfback. So Toby Sexton, he's been dropped to reserves.
Wouldn't be surprised too, looking at that, if Xavier Coates isn't back next week. He's named in the extended bench. Yep. So fingers crossed we'll see Xavier back in, because I tell you what.
Game 1 Origin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's been out for a while as well. Your Multi Chaz again.
It is. Now I've gone a full Melbourne affair here. I didn't want to gouge any Titans players in there.
Within reason too.
All right. I've gone 5. I've gone 5 legs in this one. 4 legs, sorry. I've gone 4 legs. I've gone for the first half to be over 22.5 points. I reckon they
gouging. Did you click?
Tina, yeah. That's wasted, mate. Wasted. Melbourne Storm to win the game by 13 plus. Marion Sive and Grant Anderson, I think he's cousin of Gary, both anytime try scorers. And that's $10.63.
Nice. The Flying Scotsman.
He is.
Not bad there, over the $10 mark, which we do like here on the show. Third game of the round, boys. Really interesting, this one. Manly up against the Parramatta Eels, Friday night, 7:55 p.m, 4 Pines Park. Head-to-head, Manly actually a favourite here, $1.82, Parramatta $2. 1.5 is the line, so I think it's going to be a close game, $1.90 each way. Manly at the minus, Parramatta at the plus. The Rainbow 7 return, or the Rainbow 6 return, I believe. The old Mayo
Tom
man.
Clancy. That's what it is. Tom Clancy's Rainbows.
That's it. 6
The old Mayo man's still out with a cracked egg or something. So, but boys, and Mitch Moses gone until sort of probably the first week of the finals there with a fractured or a broken finger as well. Thoughts?
Yeah, Mitchell Moses has been a huge loss. By a long shot. Manly, I think they'll be strong. They're always strong at home. They'll come out with a point to prove. At the same time, so too Parramatta. You know, both sides want to get the ball rolling, get a little momentum and a little ticket into the finals, get a bit of a run. So, mate, look, it'll be interesting to see our Para go, for example. Young Jake Arthur goes in, but there is talk Arthur's got a sternum issue, so perhaps Gutherson might move to the halves, and then you might end up with a Hayes Perham might play at fullback. So tricky one. And again, Ches, like I said before, it's one of those things you won't find out until game day. The 6th seed. But yeah, I think. Geez, I wasn't confident in Parramatta last week, and I tell you what, that was. It was a pretty good display, but oh wow! Yeah, I think I might go Manly at home.
Yeah, this was tight. This one's my multi, which I'll get to soon. Can't pick a winner. No. I think if Moses had a plate, I would have leaned towards Parramatta.
I think the market displays that too.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's put me off too much or not because
the market.
I don't know.
It just influences you. That
gets in your head.
Exactly right.
And sticks in you. Think, hang on a second. Manly's supposed to win this. What am I? Yeah, but I think if Moses had been there, I would have had a Parramatta margin in my multi. But this one's hard. And it should be a really good game too. I think it should be really good. I'm going to have to lean. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go Parramatta.
The way Parramatta played last week, obviously, I know Moses was there in that first half. They should whip them. But without Moses and with Manly, with all that controversy last week, we'll have one or two ways for the rest of their season. It'll either galvanise them, they'll come out and put 50 on Parramatta and go forth, or they'll get whipped by 50. Apparently, there's a bit of a divide in the club still.
Apparently, Ola Kawatu's not happy there. But like, if you look, how's this for an example? So, if the Rainbow Six come out and fire, then they'll basically turn around and go, look what happens without us. Look what happens with us. Next time you got a jersey dispute. You know what I mean?
Well, then they said they're happy to wear it next year as long as they get asked about it first.
Yeah, well, come out and said that.
Who cares?
They come out and said no. But boys, just in regards to how close that game was, it only ended up being 10 points. We spoke about it before with the Roosters. If they did play last week, they could have got that 2 points. And if that's going to cost them at the end of the year, look out.
Oh, mate.
Look out.
Heads will roll.
Your malt, hit us quick. We'll get through it.
All right. I've got a nice big one here. Get your pens out. Get your voice recorders ready.
I've seen it out the corner.
This is the biggest ever on the show.
Withdraw your savings. Get the second mortgage ready because this one's
But do
huge.
it responsibly.
Yes, definitely do it responsibly. All right. I've gone for the match to be over 42.5 points. And then if I've got some anytime try scorers here, I've got Sivo, Ola Kawatu, Cherry Evans, and Dylan Brown. $106.12 to 1.
106 to 1.
106 to 1.
How good's that?
Prince of Penzance money.
I can see both those halves going over in this game. Ola Kawatu is always good, and so is Sivo. I think there's going to be a fair few points on the board.
Yeah.
Mr. Giorgio, if you're out there, mate, we'll take 15% on that if you get on that. Just let me tell you that. Split it 3 ways. Boys, let's move on to our Saturday, Super Saturday. South up against the Warriors. Saturday, 3 p.m, Sunshine Coast Stadium. South's home game, but they're taking up north. $1.12 favourite are Souths. $6.35 are the Warriors. Well outside us there. The line set at a massive 18. $1.90 each way on this one as well. Souths at the minus. Warriors at the plus. South unlucky last week. Went down 1 point to the Sharkies in that Golden Point thriller.
They missed 3 field goals, didn't they?
Latrell missed 3. Warriors were valiant last week against the Storm. As I mentioned before, Kosi got 3 tries. They played some okay footy. Melbourne just did what they had to do to win. Put a few points on. It was good for them. But they're back into that travel back and forth now, the Warriors, and it's going to be interesting to see how that affects them as well. That they haven't had to do it for a couple of years. So just looking here, boys. Tane Milne returns at centre. Jed Cartwright is out. Tom Burgess is suspended from that hit. So the GOAT Nichols replaces him on the bench. And Taff comes on the bench for Cody Nicarima. Haven't seen Taff for a while.
No.
Been having a run in Reggie's, I think. And for the Warriors, boys, Pompey drops the reserves and Aitken moves to the centres, and Sirenen coming into the second row. Jazz Tavung is also out as well. And Chanel Harris to Vita, no go as well. Egan moves to 5'8", which is interesting. Well, there his teeth are. Poor fella.
Broken. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'd love to see the Warriors win this. I really would. At the same time, last week I backed the Rabbitohs, and I still have faith in them. I still think they have that chance. And I got them at $15. So by all means, your boys got a bit of coin on. But I think the Rabbitohs will be better for last week to match it with Cronulla. Probably wasn't exactly the best game, but I tell you what, Cronulla are playing a really good brand of football. And for a side, for example, the Rabbitohs are 7th on the table. They've only just got Trell back, and they're struggling with those little bits and pieces here and there. To match a side as good as Cronulla, so evenly spread as Cronulla, I think it was good. And unfortunately, I think, I don't want to say it, but I think it'll be the Rabbitohs by how much?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you there. I don't think you can really blame Latrell for last week either. Under pressure trying to get a field goal from 35 metres out.
Yeah.
Not many people can do that. I'd be lucky to get one up in the 15 metres.
He was all cheers and smiles when he kicked it from 40 that time.
Yeah, definitely leaning towards South with this one. Tell you what, that big climb with Tungy, I tell you what, he's been one of my favourite players, I reckon, this year.
Good player.
You know who I'm loving?
It's always just solid. He never seems to do anything too wrong. He's always in there just having a real good go.
You know who I'm loving now you say that, speaking about this game, is Bonte Afoa. Imagine the shampoo that bloke has to go.
I hope he's like sponsored by Pantene or Head and Shoulders or something.
Oh, the carpets match the curtains.
If they're out there listening, maybe hit us up for a sponsorship as well. Boys, my multi, I've got South head to head. AJ, 2 or more tries. Latrell Mitchell, a try. And Edward Kosey, also a try. $11.04. Crack that $10 mark, which I do like doing. Raiders versus Panthers, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. GIO Stadium. $2.35 for the Raiders, $1.60 for the Panthers. The line is set at only 3.5 here. $1.95 at the plus for the Raiders, or $1.85 at the minus for the Panthers. We touched on it before, boys. No Luai, no Cleary for the Panthers. Heading down to Canberra. It's going to be a tough road trip for them. Rapana comes back in for the Raiders as well, so they're fairly well full strength looking at that squad as I scroll through. O'Sullivan does come in the halfback for Cleary, and Jaden Seaman is named at 5'8" there as well, with Stephen Crichton back. Just before I touch it, boys, I read something crazy the other day, that Stephen Crichton last week was the first game he's missed through injury in 15 years of football.
Wow.
Crazy.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Hopefully it stays like that.
See, he's wearing the old the headgear this week.
Yeah.
Is it the old Albert Kelly one cut in half?
No. He's got the full one on. He's got the Evander Holyfield special edition, I think it was. The old extra bit of padding on the sides.
Should have got the Mick Foley Mankind mask on.
The leather. Wouldn't have got through that one.
Quick touch on the game, boys.
I'm tipped this is my upset. I'm going to go to Raiders.
Yeah, I am too. I really hope the Raiders beat Penrith. It'd be good to see them get taken down a few notches before the finals. That'll open it up for the Cowboys to roll in and get minor premiers, which no one would have thought of ever for this year.
I tipped them as me spoon.
It's thrown our top 8 predictions out, boys. None of us are going to get that because both the Broncos and the Cowboys are going to be there, and none of us had either of them in, I don't think.
And it's all the shit going on. It'd be good to see them lose anyway. Raiders.
Hates the Panthers, this fella.
No. I don't hate them. There's quite a lot of Panthers players I do like. It's just the golden boy images and the untouchables, so to speak, and the people that are ranked so high and do fuck all, like Jerome Luai, who won't be there. Whoever replaces him this week will get more points than he'll ever get for the season. So in
big call.
in Supercoach points,
Jermaine Salmon,
old upstream swimmer. My multi for the game, boys. If we're all done. I've gone over. Sorry, let me start again. I've gone under 20.5 first half points. I think it'll be a tight battle to start with, to be honest. Some big forwards on both sides. I can see a lot of defensive efforts happening here up the middle. Brian To'o to get a try, as well as Jordan Rapana. $11.68.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Little 3 legs, touch over the $10 mark. Not too shabby there. Sharks v Dragons, boys. Saturday, 7:35, Shark Park, local derby here. Head-to-head, we've got the Sharkies, the favourite, $1.30. $3.55 if you do like the Dragons. The line is set at 9.5. $1.95 at the minus for the Sharks and $1.85 at the plus for the Dragons. Sharkies got that 1-point victory, as we mentioned before, over South last week. Who did Dragons play last week? They were pretty ordinary, weren't they? Cowboys, maybe?
It wasn't
Cowboys.
a game. Yeah,
Cowboys. It was a close first half or first 25, 30 minutes. And then the Cowboys just ran away with it in the second half.
Oh, Drinky.
Yeah, so
he's good.
I was thinking of Broncos. That was the week before.
34-8 it was last week. I just
34-8. Last game of the round too, I believe.
Yeah. Will Kennedy, boys, he's out. Probably going to be out for a while. But Cade Dykes, third-generation player for the Sharkies. His dad, Adam Dykes, used to play around the David Peachey time. So he's debuting at fullback, so they reckon he's pretty good as well. And Hemlin Uele starts for Royce Hunt there for the Sharkies.
Gee, if you were young Lockie Miller,
no changes.
Very disappointed.
No changes for the Dragons, which surprises me considering how bad they were last week. But anyway.
I'll tell you one thing. I think now that Cleary's out of contention with a 2 or more weeks suspension, I reckon Ben Hunt's almost a lock for Dally M, which we spoke about before. It's funny how the voting points work, but all in all, boys, I think Cronulla will be too strong. They're playing at home. They always play well at home, and they always have a big crowd there behind them. And Tony Rudolph is a freak. You see him in the crowd? He's in the crowd sculling cans of beer and getting photos and being a goose.
He'll have COVID next week.
Good character, good character. I'll go Cronulla, yeah.
Yourself.
Definitely going Cronulla here in this game. How good's Nico Hines been? I reckon this year he'd be the best clutch player in the NRL, for sure. He just executes at the right time, every time.
Arguably the best signing in 6 years? 8 years?
Yeah.
There's a toss-up between the best sign this year between him and Adam
Reynolds.
I think. And I think that will only be decided at the end of the year as to which team goes further in the competition. So, he's playing really well. My multi-Sharks will cover the line at -9.5. Mulatalo and Jesse Ramian both to get across. $5.83, a nice little short one there. But I can see that coming off. I think they'll cover that line fairly easily at 9.5. Moving on to Sunday, we're going to flick through these ones fairly quick. Bulldogs up against the Cowboys. This one's playing at Salter Oval. Now, that's in Bundaberg for all of those of you playing at home. I had no idea. $3.50 if you do like the Bulldogs, $1.31 favourite the Cowboys are. 10.5 is the line, $1.90 each way. Bulldogs at the plus, Cowboys at the minus. As we just mentioned, boys, Cowboys pretty good last week. And the Bulldogs, they played all right last week too, didn't they?
Yeah, yep. I don't really mind who wins this game. I'd prefer to see Cowboys keep their streak going here. Sort of like neutral teams to me. Don't have anything against them, but always watch them. I don't know why I watch the Bulldogs. I used to hate them with a passion years ago, but they've gelled on me in the last year or two.
I'm loving the energy the Fox brings.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's good.
First of all, love watching them. I always go on about it, the Matt Burton with his kicks, but always great to watch. And to see that like those younger fellas like Carraz and that and Jakey Avarillo, they always have a really good go. So I'm going to lean towards the Cowboys here.
Kyle Felt's out with a hamstring.
Yeah.
But pretty handy replacement with the hammer coming onto the wing to replace him there. So that's a pretty good replacement.
I think that'll be... sorry, man.
No, I was just going to say, after last week, bit hard to pick against the Cowboys, I'd say.
Yeah, they were good. They just stayed in the grind. As you said, that first half against St George was relatively strong, and then they just blew them out of the water. Just beat them in the grind.
Yeah. Depending on the weather, if it's cold and windy, the Bulldogs could have a bit of a better chance against them, I think. But we'll see.
My multi-boys, I've gone Cowboys 13+. I've gone the hammer anytime try scorer, Jeremiah Nanai. And I'm going to go the anytime try scorer, that is. And I'm going to go the Cows to be the first side to score, $6.34.
Very Cowboy heavy.
Yeah, struggled for begging pardon. So struggled for value there. So it was a bit of a funny one.
Nanai loves getting across that white stripe too.
Mate, what's he, 16 tries for the season so far?
For a second row. It's pretty bloody good. Last game, rounding us out, boys. Tigers up against the Knights, Sunday 4 p.m, Campbelltown Stadium. $1.47, the Tigers are starting here as favourites. $2.70 for the Knights. The line set at 6. $1.90 each way, also minus for the Tigers, plus for the Knights. Probably the first time in a while the Tigers have started favourites, boys, I would imagine. As I said, got that win last week. Should have got the win the week before against the Cowboys, and that was the Cowboys and the Broncos, two teams that are in top 4 or 5. So they're playing some all right footy. Obviously, Jackson Hastings out for 5 months with that injury, so he's gone for the rest of the season. And just looking here for Newcastle boys, Bradman Best returns from a thumb injury, which then pushes Tuala to the wing. But the big news coming out of Newcastle is David Clemmer being dropped. Now, we're led to believe that's because he was meant to come off and didn't come off when he was meant to last week, that he wouldn't come off when the trainer told him to come off. So the coaches put down the hard line and said, well, if you're not going to listen to me, you can have a listen to the back sheds.
Yeah, argument for and against there. However, I take my hat off to that. A player with as much seniority as David Clemmer, for him to say that, I think it's a good, good image. As bad as it sounds, it's a good image, because then you can say no one's bigger than the game, no one's bigger than the club, even though Clem as one of their big men. Go and have a game of reserve grade, and if you ask why, you know why.
Yeah. I was just thinking back to when you were playing, you probably would have liked to come off every time the trainer went to pull you off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, mate. There was actually one of the betting agencies I should say, they said, what's the best halftime spray you've ever copped? And I remember one of my coaches playing league earlier said, are you here to play football or are you here to look good? Because if you're here to look good, you don't fucking look real good. So that was one of mine. But boys, my multi, you want me to hit it? Or Ches?
Yeah, Chez's pick. Who are you picking?
Mate, definitely go with the Tigers here. If you look at the current form, they could win by about 50-6, I think. Knights are just struggling. Tigers have been solid. They were my top that moment from last week with their display from last weekend. I think they're going to win, and they win by a big margin.
Yeah, well, I've gone Tigers head-to-head, total points over 42.5. Brent Naden, Dane Laurie, anytime try scorers. Tigers 6.5 start. So Tigers six start. $9.16.
5 legs. 5 legs, just a touch under the $10 mark.
Yeah,
there.
Another one that I struggle to get some value in. So
I think that's just reflective of the market, to be honest, boys. One last thing before we do go and wrap up, and that's the Guru's Multi. Again, for those new listeners and followers, that is a friend of ours that's pretty good on the punt, although he has been a bit off the last few weeks. So he's gone a bit conservative here. He messaged me today and said, I need to get a win. I need to get back on that horse. So
feel under pressure.
So he's gone a little 3-legger here. So listen carefully. He's gone under 41.5 points in the Raiders-Panthers game. He's then gone over 43.5 points in the Roosters-Broncos game. And then also South's 13+. So thanks to our friends at TopSport, they've multied all those together. $5.10. So not bad value there for a little 3-leg across 3 games. So he's pretty confident about that one as well.
And once again, he's put the Roosters in. I'm liking this.
Deep down, he might be trying to suck up the rug, maybe.
Any comments before we go, boys? Wrap it up. Any shout-outs? We gave a few shout-outs before. If you do want a shout-out, get in touch with us. Let us know your thoughts. Comment on our YouTube videos. Let us know your thoughts. And if you agree or if you get a multi up, let us know. We'll definitely give you a shout-out next week.
Ron Burgundy will give you a yell.
Not much for me. If you do enjoy your beers on the weekend, make sure you drink responsibly. Head down to Whitebull and stock up now because that beer tax is coming in very soon.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be just on the tap beer, it's the bottle shops as well.
Yep.
So stock up now, boys, while you can, and try and get a pallet load of new in the shed before everybody hits us.
See, there you go. And everyone bagged Scott Morrison. The bloke was gone. He's been gone for a couple of months, and look what happens.
He's gone straight up.
Place is about to collapse.
Thanks to all our sponsors, as we just mentioned, Whitebull and TopSport. Head on over, create yourself an account, use the code SGM Podcast. It is on the screen as we speak. Enjoy the football this week. If you do have a punt, please do so responsibly. And as always,
don't eat your soup with a fork.
We'll catch you next week.